Today we're going to do deep fried turkey in the Cajun fryer. It's sitting outside. I'll introduce it to you in just a little bit. Well, first and foremost, of course, you want to make sure your turkey is completely thawed. You don't want to drop a frozen or even partial frozen turkey in that deep fryer. It has to be completely thawed. Then we patted it down to make sure there wasn't any moisture. In fact, I even got some paper towels in here getting the last of the moisture out of there. Take the giblets out of there, and if it's got one of these little plastic things back in here that hold the legs together, you don't want to deep fry plastic as well. Over here in this pot is my father's recipe. Real simple, real basic. All right, let me tell you what's in this little pot here. Start out with a half a cup of water and 2 sticks of butter. There we go. A teaspoon of onion powder and a teaspoon of garlic powder. Half a teaspoon of salt and a teaspoon of black pepper. And you just want to inject this in pretty much everywhere until it won't take anymore. I like to get it in the thighs and of course in the legs here. We're going to cover this with this Creole seasoning, and you can use anything you want. You can use barbecue seasoning, you can use Cajun seasoning, but I want to try this on this turkey just because it's pretty popular. I'm going to try to get some inside the cavity as well. Got him all prepped. We're going to go down and fire up that deep fryer, and we're going to Cajun fry a turkey right at 14 pounds because this bird is exactly 14 pounds. Let's take it to the fryer. Whoa, wait a second. Before we take this out to the deep fryer, I forgot to mention an ingredient. In this butter and garlic powder and salt and pepper and all that stuff is a half a teaspoon of lemon juice. Now that you know to put a half a teaspoon of lemon juice in there, let's take this bird out to the deep fryer and get cooking. Well, we got our 14-pound turkey down here sitting in the basket. I kind of want the skin to warm up as the oil warms up, so let's get started. All right, we got it hooked up to our propane tank. We're going to open up the propane tank, but leave this little valve closed for right now until we get our little lighter over there by the flame. We'll get our little fire down here first, and then we'll turn this little valve on a little at a time. There she goes. Now I'm going to turn this thing up, and it's kind of amazing, but it sounds like an F-16 fighter plane. Let me show you what's going on here. It's only been lit for about 3 minutes, and it's already up to 125 degrees, climbing up past 150. And you'll notice I've got the turkey sitting in the basket above the oil, and I'll tell you why. Last night when we got done all injecting it, we had to go and do a function, and so we put it in the refrigerator and let that injection juice marinate through the turkey all night. So it came out cold. I let it sit for a little bit at room temperature, not much, but I want it to kind of warm up so it's not a cold bird going into the hot oil. So I thought it'll kind of heat as it's sitting over the oil. Then we'll drop it in when it hits 350 degrees. We're getting really close now. We're almost to 350, which is right in the center of that green bar. I'm going to actually let it get a little higher than that because after I drop the turkey, I know it's going to pull the oil down 25 degrees anyway. So when it gets a little higher, we're going to drop that bird in there. Well, it finally hit 350 degrees. It's time for this turkey to take a bath. Let's see if this Cajun fryer will handle a 14-pound turkey. We're going to put it in a little at a time here. Whether you're using one of these Cajun fryers or the model you got at home that might be one of those round pots sitting on a burner, make sure you put them in easy. Completely thawed. You don't want to put a frozen turkey in here. Just a second to settle down each time. Got her hooked on that back rack. Looky there. In there. Close our lid. Well, it's been 30 minutes. And look at there, he's already starting to float a little bit. I knew you'd want to take a peek at 30 minutes, and look how beautiful that turkey looks. Don't let that darker skin fool you, because all that skin's got all the fat cooked out of it, and it's so crunchy and delicious, you'll just fight over it. But let's get him back in here. In about another 15 minutes, I'm going to check internal temperature, so we'll see you at 45. Man, here's an update. We're going to have to do a little math when we get inside, because this is no way taking 5 minutes per pound. This is a 14-pound turkey, and we're checking it with an internal probe into the deepest part of the breast, and it was already up to 160 at 30 minutes. We kind of let it rest here just for 5 minutes before we turn the camera back on. But there's 160, 162. Now some people cook their turkeys to 170 degrees. I don't do that. I like to stop at 160, so it'll stop at 165 on the high end. And there's 165.9, 166, 167. So man, check your bird at 30 minutes if you're doing about a 14 or 15 pound turkey. Only at about 25 to 30 minutes, go ahead and check it. Let's take this up and cut it. I'll bet it's nice and moist inside, and we only cooked it 30 minutes. Let's check it out. This is totally amazing. I almost had to carry that in with 2 mitts because the legs wanted to fall right off. 169.3 degrees and holding. It's been resting for 20 minutes, and it only dropped 1 degree from outside. These things hold heat for the longest time in the world. But come on over here, and let's carve up some more of this turkey and see how we did. Look how delicious that looks. You see how moist that is? Wow. Fantastic. Isn't that really sharp? Let me turn this bird around, carve some of this off the other side here. Hey, I'm telling you what, you got to deep fry yourself one of these turkeys. All I can say is, from our house to yours, Happy Thanksgiving.
People have been asking us, have we used air fryers? And we thought since it's around Thanksgiving now that we would do a turkey.
That's right. So we picked this Butterball turkey roaster up at Bass Pro, and no, we're not endorsing this.
No, we went across the road and got it.
That's right. We just went over to Opry Mills Mall and went to Bass Pro and picked one up because we wanted to try it and give you our opinion of it. What we've done is we've washed the bird, and we've just put this up the back end of the turkey. If he was alive, he wouldn't like it very much. But you can see it's just on this little thing, and this is going to make it real easy for us to drop this in the air fryer. But before we do that, we are going to inject this with some Cajun injector, Creole butter, and give it some flavor. So I've got my little injector here, and I'm just going to poke that in and inject it inside the breast on each side. You just poke it right into the thick part of the meat.
Swells it up good, don't it?
Yeah, it does. And it's going to drip out the bottom a little bit. No worries. It's still going to. There's still going to be plenty in the meat. Well, nobody says I was a nurse.
I hate for you to be giving me a shot.
You don't want me to give you a shot. Neither does this poor bird. So now that we've got that done, we're going to put some Cajun rub on, and I'm going to let Sheila get to rubbing.
Yeah.
And you're just going to work that all into the meat.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I understand, you want to make sure that when we put this in here, that you don't put any kind of sweet rubs or anything like that. So you got to be careful the kind of rubs you use in an air fryer. But yeah, she's just going to rub that all over the meat. And this is about an 8-pound bird. We're going to hook this little thing on, and we're going to stick this right in this.
Awesome.
And we're going to go take this out and put it out in the air fryer.
Okay, here we go.
Okay, so we've got our turkey fryer on here, and it's already on high.
It's made by Masterbuilt.
Made by Masterbuilt. And we got, Sheila's got that. I'm going to let her grab the lid off, and we're just going to set that in there and unhook it. And we're going to cover this up, and we're going to leave this on for about 80 minutes. It takes about 10 minutes per pound, and this is about an 8-pound turkey. Okay, so we're going to take this off, and we're just going to check the temperature and make sure that that reads at least 165. Try not to get that. And it's up at 170, so we're doing good. The internal temperature looks good. So I'm going to let Sheila hook that, and pull it out of here, and set it right onto this tray, and we're going to carry it in.
Sheila, we're back with the turkey.
Yes, and this is what it looks like when it comes out, and it looks just delicious. It was 170, I think, internal temperature, so it was plenty. That was plenty of time. 80 minutes that we had. 10 minutes per pound is all you really need on high. And wow, look at it when we're carving it. It just cuts right off the bone. Oh my gosh, it's just juicy. Doesn't it look juicy?
It does.
Wow. And you can just cut it right here on that stand that it comes with. It makes it actually pretty easy to cut, and the bird won't be slipping all over the tray.
Stays put.
Yes, I think we should try it.
I think so too. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Today we're going to make baked turkey wings. I went down, got them, brought them home, we rinsed them off, and then I seasoned them up with this seasoning right here. Let me tell you what's in this bowl. It's a 1/4 cup of Cajun seasoning. And the reason I used Cajun seasoning is because I was going to use this Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, and I got to looking on here, and the #1 ingredient is salt. They should put on their #1 ingredient is salt, salt, and salt, because I poured some in a spoon and tasted it. It's just pure salt, but this starts out with garlic and paprika and spices, then salt. So I went with that instead, but it does have a kick, so I wanted to turn it down just a little bit. So I got a 1/4 cup of Cajun seasoning, and make sure the ingredients don't start out with salt. And then I put in 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, not the salts, and 1 tablespoon of paprika. I mixed it all together and I rubbed it down on these turkey wings, and they've been in the refrigerator overnight. Come on over, let's get started on this recipe. You're gonna just love baked Cajun turkey wings. Did I get that all out, Sheila?
You did.
I did good. Come on over, let's get started. Now, I don't want to put the bad mouth on Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning. I'm sure there's a time and a place to use that seasoning, but for what I want here, I've got this stuff right here. I don't even know where I bought it. It's Tone's Cajun seasoning. I put some in a spoon. Man, it tastes just delicious. A lot of spices, a lot of great flavor, but a lot of kick. So, well, duh, it's Cajun seasoning. They're going to put some kick in there for you. But remember what I did. I put in a 1/4 cup of that Cajun seasoning, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, and 1 tablespoon of my favorite paprika. This is that McCormick's Gourmet smoked paprika. I love it. I mix it up and I rub these turkey wings down, and I'm keeping this for a reason. The rest of this seasoning, don't throw it away. Only use about half of it on this right here. Look what we have. Now these little guys, I kept them just to show you. These are the little tips of the turkey wings. I'm going to say chicken wings all day today, but turkey wings that I cut off, but I saved them because I wanted to show you that I whacked them off of there. Then I took the drumettes and the little two-boned part, that's all that Kroger had up there, and I cut it apart so they would lay flat in my baking dish. But right now, I'm going to put a nice golden brown sear on all these. It'll get a nice golden crust on the outside, then we'll bake it, because this won't cook it all the way through, but it will when it sits in the oven for 3 hours. That's right, I said it, 3 hours. All right, now we don't want to cook these all the way through. We just want to put a nice sear on them, like that right there. Yeah, looking good. Let me get all these wings up with a nice little crust on the outside, and we'll go from there. All right, for our next step, Sheila, how come you didn't clean this pan?
Told me not to.
That's because I got some of this seasoning smeared down here in the bottom, and man, I just laid the olive oil to it. Don't be afraid to put plenty in there, maybe about 1/8 of a cup or so, because it's all going to float up when we put our chicken broth in amongst all of our turkey wings. And let me tell you what I'm going to do with this chicken broth right now. You see my seasoning that I saved? Here's where the fun starts. I'm going to pour this in here. Just enough, not too much, but just enough to make a paste. Ooh, that looks really good. Make a nice little paste there. You notice I got my gloves on because we're going to have some fun right now. And let me show you what we're going to do. When we talk about flavor to the bone, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to take these turkey wings and we're going to cut a slot in there like that. We're going to open that up, We're going to take some of that paste and we're going to push it down in there, right next to the bone. You talk about flavor infusing into all of the meat, down the bone line, everything. Then we're going to lay them over here. Same thing with our little drumettes, not little, but just go off to one side of the bone, which is right here. Open that up, get some of our Cajun paste, poke it down in there. Are you watching me do this, Sheila? I think you might want to get a close-up. Check this out. Thank you, Sheila. Let's show them what we're doing here. Now this has got two bones, so right down the middle is easy to do. Open that up. Take that paste. Can you see that, Sheila?
I can.
And we're going to push that seasoning right down inside of there. Lay it over here on our seasoning and olive oil, which is going to float to the top when we pour chicken broth over it. And that oil will come up off the bottom, mixed with the seasoning, and come right up to about the middle, or even slightly. We almost want to cover it, but we want to leave it stick out there a little ways to kind of help get a little bit crisp. Let me get the rest of these stuffed up and moved over to this pan. And I'll show you the next couple of steps, and then it's going in the oven. We'll see you in a second. What do you think, Sheila?
Looks awesome.
Doesn't it look fantastic? She says, that looks so good, like that's gonna be so delicious when it's done. Now, I'm gonna pour this broth in here, but I'm gonna pour it off to one side so it doesn't wash all the seasoning off the top of our turkey. So I'm gonna pick an innocent little spot here in the corner. I'm gonna keep pouring that in there. That'll be perfect right there. Now their next step, let me do a little house cleaning because Sheila's going to say I spilt some over here.
How did you know I was
Well, I just know. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get our aluminum foil over here. And we're going to cover this up. Now here's the thing, if you don't have one of these deep pans, don't forget you got a turkey roaster at the house, a round one or oval one. Just put it in there. In fact, you could even lay these on top of that rack as long as you got it deep enough with juice to get up pretty much to the top. I got a couple of these sticking out there a ways, so I'll just pour the rest of that in there. And then put the lid on your roaster, and you don't even have to use aluminum foil. And again, there's so many recipes out there that do these turkey wings where they crank the heat up to 350, even 400 degrees and all that stuff for an hour or two. I like that low and slow cooking. So we're gonna go kind of split the difference. I'd rather go down to 250, but I'm gonna go to 300 in about 2 hours and 50 minutes. Actually about 2.5 hours. I'm gonna check it out and see how tender that is. But we're gonna keep doing it until it gets just fall off the bone tender, and we'll be back to show you what's underneath this delicious aluminum foil. Actually, under the foil is the delicious turkey wings. So it's in the oven. Were you ready to do this, Sheila?
I'm ready.
Did you preheat the oven?
No.
Well, all right, we're going to go ahead and preheat the oven. The answer was supposed to be, yes, I did. I've got it ready for you. No, I know. Anyway, we'll be back in about 3 hours with some absolute fantastic food. See you then. You're supposed to say yes, Sheila.
No.
Look what we have, a total of 3 hours, 2 hours and 30 minutes at 300 degrees. Then I uncovered it and then I cranked it up to 350 for the last half an hour. We kind of let it tone down a little bit because it was bubbling hot when we brought it in here. I want to try, man, look at this stuff. Gee. Let me get one of these out of here. And everybody serves it different, where they just put this on a bed of rice. But traditionally, down in there in Louisiana, they serve it with dirty rice. And what is dirty rice? It's not brown rice, it's white rice with sausage and peppers and all kinds of stuff in it. Now, I didn't make this from scratch. I'll tell you that I went and got this Zatarain's dirty rice dinner mix, and you mix this box up, simmer it for like 25 minutes, put in 1 pound, and it says on here you can use ground beef, ground pork, ground turkey, or ground sausage. And you know me from Minnesota, I love sausage. Of course, Sheila got over there and she's nibbling on it. And in went about a 1/4 stick of butter. Then The other side that's very traditional with this recipe, and Sheila loves these too, is baked beans. Now, I cheated again. I went out and just got a can of Bush's country style baked beans because the star of the show is this turkey. And I just wanted to show you some sides. We have a great baked bean recipe on our channel. Check it out, it's phenomenal. But I wanted to concentrate on making this today. Then, I'm also gonna get a little of this broth over here. Now, so here's something else you can do. You can also, you know how we browned this up in that frying pan? You can take the drippings with a little flour, a little bit of milk and water, and make a gravy to go over the top of this. Oh man, you won't believe this. 3 things have happened since we turned the camera off. First of all, the battery went dead, so we had to go in and get another one. While she was doing that, I went in the kitchen and made some of that gravy out of those drippings. So this has cooled off a little bit. And 3, I remembered to put my apron back on because earlier in the shot after I brought it out of the oven, I just carried it in here. I was so excited that I just turned it on. Looky here. There's a little bit of that gravy on top our wings. And I made this from the drippings when I fried this up earlier, so it's probably got a little spice to it as well. Boy, it just turned out perfect. And here we are. What do you think, Sheila?
It's yummy.
I hope you give this a try. There you have it. Delicious baked Cajun turkey wings. It ain't no wonder they run out of them at Kroger's and at Publix. Well, they got them over at Food Lion. Thanks a lot there, Frankie. Appreciate you helping me with another great recipe. We hope you subscribe to our channel. A little Shotgun Red's face will pop up over here in just a little bit. When it does, click on that. Right next to it will be a little bell. If you click on that, then it'll notify you every time we come out with a new recipe. I'm going to put some other recipes over here. And you know what I'm going to do? I think as much as I like to put a playlist over here for you to watch, I think I'm going to put that baked bean recipe over here. Good idea, Sheila?
Good idea.
Because it's delicious. Takes a little longer to make. I wanted to concentrate on these turkey wings, but I'll put that over there for you. And is this the most delicious baked Cajun turkey wings you ever ate? If it ain't, it ought to be. We'll see you next time right here on Cooking with Shotgun Red. Say goodnight, Sheila.
Good night, Sheila.
And she loves turkey, so she'll try this. Bye-bye for now.